Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever been at a party, or maybe a work event, and someone introduces themselves, and literally 2 seconds later, their name has completely vanished from your brain? You smile, you nod, you continue the conversation, all while internally panicking and trying to recall what they just said. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. It's a super common experience, but it can leave you feeling rude, inattentive, or even a bit dense. The good news is, it probably has nothing to do with your intelligence or how much you care. Today, we're going to dive into the psychology behind why we're so bad at remembering names, and more importantly, what we can do about it. By the end of this video, you'll understand the fascinating reasons your brain does this, and have some practical, easy-to-use tricks to become a name-remembering champion. So, let's get into it. First, let's clear up a major misconception. Forgetting a name right after you hear it doesn't mean you have a bad memory. Think about it. You can probably remember complex plot lines from movies you saw years ago, or the lyrics to a song you haven't heard since high school. Your memory is likely just fine. The problem with names is specific and has a lot to do with how our brains prioritize and process information. When you meet someone new, your brain is doing a million things at once. You're processing their facial features, their body language, the tone of their voice, the context of the situation, and you're also busy thinking about what you're going to say next. You want to make a good first impression, right? You're managing your own anxiety and trying to appear friendly and engaged. Amidst all this cognitive chaos, a random piece of information, like the name John or Sarah, is just not that distinct. It's what psychologists call low in information content. It's just a label, a common noun to your brain at that moment without any rich context attached to it. So, your brain, being the efficient and sometimes lazy machine that it is, often just lets it go. It's focusing on the bigger picture. Is this person a friend or foe? What's our social connection? The name itself is secondary. This phenomenon has a name, the next-in-line effect. Studies have shown that people have the worst memory for what was said just before it's their turn to speak. Why? Because you're not truly listening, you're rehearsing. You're so focused on your own performance, what you'll say, how you'll say it, that you don't have the mental bandwidth to properly encode the information being given to you. So when someone says, "Hi, I'm Emily," and you know you have to respond immediately, your brain is already queuing up. "Hi, Emily, I'm your name. It's so nice to meet you." You hear the name, but you don't process it. It enters your short-term or working memory, which is like a temporary mental notepad with very limited space. If you don't do something to actively move that information from the notepad into long-term storage, it gets wiped clean within seconds to make room for the next thing, which in this case is your own introduction. Another huge factor is a lack of genuine interest, and that's not as rude as it sounds. Let me explain. From an evolutionary perspective, our brains are wired to remember things that are crucial for survival or have a strong emotional component. For our ancestors, remembering the face of a dangerous rival or the location of a food source was vital. A person's name? Not so much. A name is an arbitrary label. A face, however, tells a story. Our brains have a specific area, the fusiform gyrus, that is highly specialized for facial recognition. We are incredible at remembering faces. You might see someone in the grocery store and think, "I know them from somewhere," even if you can't place their name for the life of you. That's because the face is a rich, unique visual pattern, while the name is just an abstract sound. Unless you have a specific, pre-existing reason to care about this person, maybe they're your new boss, or someone you find very attractive, your brain might not flag their name as important enough to store. It hasn't been tagged with any strong emotional significance yet, so now we know why it happens. Our brains are overwhelmed. We're focused on ourselves, and names are just plain boring to our primitive wiring. The big question is, what can we do to fight back against our own psychology? How can we actually start remembering names? The key is to make the name meaningful and move it from that flimsy short-term notepad to the robust long-term filing cabinet of your mind. And the first, most crucial step is simply to pay attention. Be present in the moment of introduction. Consciously tell yourself, I'm going to remember this person's name. This simple act of intention can shift your focus. Instead of rehearsing your line, actively listen when they say their name. If you miss it, it is perfectly acceptable and even shows you care to say, I'm so sorry I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? It's much better to ask in the first 2 seconds than to call them buddy for the rest of the night. Once you have the name, the next trick is to use it. Immediately. A simple, "It's great to meet you, Jessica," reinforces the name in your own mind. You're hearing yourself say it, which creates another neural pathway. Try to use it once or twice more in the initial conversation, naturally, of course. For example, "So, Jessica, what do you do for a living?" Or, "That's a really interesting point, Jessica." This technique, called repetition, is one of the most powerful memory aids. Each time you say the name, you're strengthening the memory trace. You're telling your brain, hey, this piece of information is important. Don't throw it out. It makes the name more familiar and less abstract. It's like saving a file on your computer multiple times. The more you save it, the less likely you are to lose it. This simple habit can dramatically increase your recall. Now, let's get a bit more advanced. To really lock a name in, you need to connect it to something you already know. This is called associative learning. Our brains remember things best when they're linked together in a web of information. So, when you meet someone named David, don't just hear the name. Try to create a mental link. Do you have a cousin named David? Picture them standing next to each other. Is he a carpenter? Picture him building a divan. The funnier or more absurd the image, the better. Let's say you meet a woman named Lily. You could picture her holding a giant lily flower. Or if you meet a George, you could picture him with a curious monkey on his shoulder, like Curious George. It might feel silly at first, but you're creating a strong, memorable visual hook that your brain can easily retrieve later. You're taking an abstract word and turning it into a concrete picture, which is much easier for your brain to store and recall. Another powerful association technique is to connect the name to a feature of the person. This is the classic memory champion trick. Let's say you meet a man named Harry who has a lot of hair. Perfect. Harry is hairy. You meet a woman named Rose who is wearing a red shirt, the color of a rose. You meet a guy named Mike who has a big smile, and you can think, his smile shines like a microphone under the lights. These connections don't have to be brilliant. They just have to be personal to you. The goal is to create a bridge between the new information, the name, and existing information, their appearance or something you observe about them. It takes a bit of practice to do this quickly in a conversation, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes an almost automatic and incredibly effective tool for remembering names. Finally, let's talk about what to do after the conversation ends. You've met a few new people at an event. Don't just walk away and hope for the best. Take a moment to review. As you're walking to get a drink or even in the car on the way home, mentally go through the people you met. Visualize their faces and say their names to yourself. Okay, that was Chris with the cool glasses, Sarah who works in marketing, and Ben who loves to travel. This act of retrieval and rehearsal is like studying for a test. It solidifies the memories you've just worked so hard to create. If you got a business card, look at it. The combination of their name in print and your memory of their face will forge a very strong connection. In our digital age, you can even take this a step further. If it's appropriate, connect with them on a professional networking site like LinkedIn shortly after meeting them. Seeing their name and photo again online will be a final, powerful reinforcement. So, to recap, forgetting names is totally normal. It's a quirk of how our brains are wired to handle the flood of information in social settings, but you have the power to change it. It all starts with the intention to remember, be present, really listen. Don't be afraid to ask someone to repeat their name. Use their name immediately and a couple of times during the conversation. Then, create a fun, memorable association. Link the name to someone you know, a funny image, or one of their physical features. And finally, review the names later to lock them into your long-term memory. It's not about having a good or bad memory. It's about using the right techniques to work with your brain, not against it. By turning these steps into habits, you'll not only avoid those awkward moments, but you'll also make the people you meet feel seen, valued, and respected. And that is a truly powerful social skill. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you found these psychological insights and practical tips helpful. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to remembering names, or do you have a favorite trick that I didn't mention? Let's share our strategies and all become better at connecting with people. Until next time, take care and stay curious.